right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back tonight. We're playing more Swords of the Serpentine. We are continuing our Tides That Bind campaign. We are down along tonight. Actually, no, I got it backwards. I put Arkadiy and Vincent in the wrong place. Pelletier is getting into my brain right now, so I have to switch that in a second. But yeah, we're down long / Vincent, but we have Arkadiy back, and so as Kipser said before we came on like Vincent's abandoning the family again. Is that what it is? How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah,
definitely me, not
Smart.
Chauncey who
smart.
said that. Yeah.
Oh, was it you? Oh, my bad. I gotta be honest. I wasn't really.
I know
much.
me and Jeremy sound so similar. It's just so easy to
I
mix
specialize
up.
in passing myself off as others.
I
It's
know,
bleeding
right?
into the real world.
Yeah,
You do.
yeah.
You do.
Everything's fixed. Thank you for that. I was just stalling so I could fix the overlay really fast. Okay, there we go. Everything's set. So we're down Vincent. He'll be back next time, and we'll pick up and we'll see what happened with Arkadiy, because Arkadiy had to step away. So yeah. Okay. I got nothing. Well, all right, let's just start. We good? Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. So last time around, we had picked up right after the death of your matriarch, Eliana. Lights, as you know, they went out in the manor. We started to hear all those quakes and the shuddering of the walls, the foundation, the grinding of stone on stone. The lights came back up, and we had learned that Eliana's room had grown in size, and didn't have like a balcony entrance now, and it also had spontaneously generated these two sets of doors, or the set of double doors, I should say. You eventually decided to explore the chamber, and you found that it was filled with portraits and busts of all of the main wall and matriarchs going back to the beginning. And there was also an empty canvas that was hanging above the fireplace as well. So you kind of hung out there for a bit. The eyes of the matriarchs were kind of following you around a bit. Solavita managed to actually talk with one of the busts, who was very rude, but mentioned something along the lines of "speak, cull, feast." And there was an odd moment where, for some reason, I don't even really remember how this happened. Chauncey was basically pressured into kissing one of the bronze busts, because it was observed that their mouths were slightly open and their tongues were missing. And so Chauncey kissed one. Still don't get it. And you felt a tongue go into your mouth and press and was swish around your mouth a bit. When you pulled away, you had blood covering your lips. All this time, Althavira had slipped away completely unnoticed. And then you had a little bit of deliberation, and eventually you checked on Eliana's body, where you discovered that it had been butchered. You can see her mouth and her throat were cut, and the tongue had been removed. It's about around that time or so, we heard a church bell start to ring out. But you all know that you don't have a church on the grounds. There's no reason you would be able to hear that. Vincent looked out a balcony. He discovered that the entire estate had changed. There's the hedge mains was still there, but there's a bunch of other stuff. These crisscrossing arcades. There's this tiered edifice, these hanging gardens. And then there was this church off in the distance that he could see as well. You also heard from your house guards that the guests that were lingering still in the house were getting pretty restless. And they were claiming that you all locked them inside, that there were chains on the doors or something like that, and that you had no right to do it. Chauncey, you came up with some kind of speech that somehow calmed them temporarily, and they didn't rage just yet. But then you kind of continued on. Fortuna, you managed to get a tip from one of the guards in which direction you had seen Althavira going, and you kind of chased after them. So all of you were basically doing it. All the while, Arkadiy had slipped away at some point, kind of touching Fortuna on the arm with a very, very cold hand. And then the rest of you went outside. You found a body on the ground in this newly manifested arcade, this walled arcade with these skulls for stones here and there. The wind was blowing all these cries. It was very strange. And he found the body of Cosimo Mainwallen, who was a recent addition to the family that Fortuna had actually recruited, and therefore was likely very very supportive of Fortuna. His head had been ripped open. And it's about then when another figure stumbled down and attacked the party. It was a zombie. I'm just going to, cut to the chase. It was a zombie. It was wheeling servant clothes, but old waterlogged, long ruined Mainwallen servant clothes. Nearly killed Chauncey, nearly ripped his head open. But fortunately, you all were able to defeat it. You then followed like a blood trail for a bit. You got up to the steps of the chapel. You found that there were chains on them. Fortuna and Vincent took care of them. Chauncey, Solavita, you heard some rustling in a bush. You hid. And when you looked, you saw these foxes just sort of come out and kind of sit there on the road, 3 of them. And Fortuna, you and Vincent pushed the door open a crack into the chapel, and you saw that there was a body that was slowly swaying back and forth, hanging from the rafters. So that is what happened last time. So we're going to pick up a couple minutes before that, as we are going to follow Arkadiy. Actually, we'll probably say it's more like a half an hour before that, because you all did spend some time in that portrait room. So let's say we move back. We kind of see that situation following the death of Eliana, and everyone's kind of mourning. The leeches are being kind of ushered out. The Father Macaulay is kind of being ushered out, and it's really just the family that is kind of staying behind. And we see like Arkadiy kind of reaches out, kind of taps on, lets Fortuna know that he's stepping away for a moment. And we follow Arkadiy as he heads down the hall, and we see him kind of like gripping his arm. And he goes into like the nearest door, one of these. It's just basically like a guest chambers. So there's like a bed set up. No one's really using it. You can see there's maybe a fireplace, or maybe we'll say somebody is using it. Maybe we'll say it's one of your newly minted main Wallens. We can say there's a small fireplace going. We can see like curtains drawn on the balcony doors that would go out to the back. And when we look at Arkadiy, and you look at yourself, Arkadiy, first your fist won't open on your right hand. We'll say your primary hand. Your fist won't open, and you feel you're freezing. Like your whole body, chills are rushing through you. And you look at your hand, and your hand just won't open. And as you roll like your sleeve up, you can see that your whole right arm is effectively turned blue. Your left arm is kind of it's in an intermediate state. You can tell it's freezing as well, but compared to the right, like it's just for some reason you feel like you're freezing to death. What's going through Arkadiy's mind, and how do you think you're handling this?
So Arkadiy's, he's obviously been dealing with frost mages for a while, so he's just angry with himself more than anything that he let himself get hit by that frost mage in the bar, and that it's been years, but it's led to this continuing debilitating condition. And I think deep down he just feels kind of disgusted with himself and guilty, because his primary responsibility is to protect Fortuna and see her take the matriarch's position. And he's beginning to feel that if he can't gain mastery over this, he's not going to be able to do his job.
Okay. So as you're inside this room, door closes behind you. There's just that flickering light. You still hear those distant sounds of like shudders, like shuddering kind of coming to a settle. But you do notice that you're in this room, you're a handful of feet away from the fire, that roaring fire. And you do feel like the warmth of the fire is actually helping. Like you can feel that it's certainly helping with the shivering cold that you have. Would you say you warm yourself by the fire?
Yeah, so Arkadiy would definitely move up to the fire. In fact, get as close to the fire, particularly get his right arm as close to the fire as he can get it without starting to, singe it. So, I mean, he might even get it close enough that you start to see maybe some of the small arm hairs crinkle a little bit from the heat, and just try to absorb as much of the warmth as he can.
Okay. While you're here, you have vigilance. You hear the sounds of, first of all, a chime, like a bell chime going off. So we'll say you're just hovering there for a bit. You're warming, and you're slowly getting your hand. It's taking a little bit of time, but it's working. But you hear like a chime go off, but almost like instantly before that, just like seconds before it, almost a split second. You hear the scream of somebody like calling for help, and it's like a terror, like in terror and in pain. and then it fades, but it's at a distance, and like it's almost like the one thing happens, and then right on the heels of the tail off of the scream, this chime happens, and you again don't recognize a chime. You don't know anything about a chime. Like the closest church is on the Scarpaccio grounds, and that's on the other side of the neighborhood. You can't hear it from here, and so you hear this. What did Arkadiy do with that?
Well, I think Arkadiy would, and he would file the chime away as information, but I think he would try to, based on where he heard the scream coming from, try to track that scream down, or at least where
it's outside. Like you could, there's this curtain that's covering what you know to be a balcony entrance. You know that a lot of these rooms on the second floor overlook the rear of your estate. Some of them look over the hedge maze. Some of them just look over like the gazebo area. Some of them just look out like over the kennel. And so you know that all of these are supposed to have balconies that look over, but you think it came from outside.
So he would throw open the curtains and try to look out over the balcony to see.
When you throw open the curtains, you push the doors open on the balcony, and you look out onto the grounds of the main wall and manor. And I mean, Arkadiy, it makes no sense. Like you're looking out here and you know what to expect. You expect to your left, there should be the hedge maze. Okay. You should expect to see straight ahead, off by the water. You should see the gazebo. Off to the right, you should see the kennel tucked away. That is not at all what you see. Instead, you can see that vaguely off to the left, there's the hedge maze. You can also notice that right next to it, there is like this tiered edifice and covered in kind of vegetation. And it almost looks like a hanging gardens has erupted right next to it. And you can see also that there's like this glowing dome that's giving off a lot of this light that seems to be like off and away and through on the other side of the hedge maze itself. And it's kind of giving off almost like a muted graying sunlight in some way, not coming from the sky, which now as you mention it, you don't see any stars. You just see like this vague kind of blue gray color in the sky. None of this should be back here. You see these crisscrossing stone arcades covered in vines and vegetation. I see some randomly scattered statues, and you see a chapel in the distance. And as you're looking out, your vigilance is so high, you look off to your right, and this is a ways away. Think of this like at least like 50 yards away from you, a floor down. As you're looking, you see a body that you kind of clock as the direction where that scream came from. And as you're trying to settle your eyes on it, you suddenly see Chauncey, and you recognize Chauncey as he's in his finest. You see Chauncey just suddenly go scrambling and trying to claw away in the lawn. And you see there's another figure, this kind of large, bloated looking man who launches himself on top of Chauncey and is sort of swinging and swinging. Fortunately, like you're too far away to help in this instant, but you do see Chauncey just start smashing the guy's head in, and eventually kind of stands up, and there's like a bit of a panic state. And you can see then Fortuna comes into view, and Solavita and Vincent.
Is there any way for Arkadiy to make his way like down the side of the building, off of the balcony, and to get out into the lawn to him?
I think you just do like a quick athletics if you like. Just do a quick athletics check.
Sure. I will. I'll spend a point of athletics and see how it goes.
While you're doing that, I'll interrupt real quick. Welcome, Raiders, Architects of Fate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that raid. Architects is it's a very good word for this evening in this arc that will be coming up a lot. Architecture, engineering.
Yes.
This one's for Kipser.
Stop destroying all my work.
6 in total.
So Arkadiy, you notice there's no like specific way to come. There's no ladder or anything, but there's plenty of vines and vegetation, and you're able to kind of throw a leg over the side of the balcony and begin to climb down. One of the things that you notice, Arkadiy, and it kind of alarms you as you're climbing down. You're only on the second floor, and you know, like there's other higher levels in your estate. As you're climbing down, it does not feel like a 2-story climb. Climb down, you feel like you've probably traversed about 15, 20 feet or so, and you look down, and it still looks like the ground is a good 15 to 20 feet below you. Scramble down a few more, and the same thing kind of happens. Sort of parallax view moment, like this almost vertigo feel happens. And you kind of feel yourself for a moment begin to sway. You hear the sounds, and you can feel the shuddering of the manor wall. But then as you climb down the last handful of feet, your feet finally hit the ground, and you know that you're like in these planters at the base of the manor in the back. But it felt like you just climbed down about 100 to 150 feet. So, do you think Arkadiy would go racing off after them?
I mean, he would not race off, but he would be moving that way. But I mean, his head's on a swivel. I mean,
Gotcha.
Obviously, very weird things are happening. So his swords are out, and he is expecting trouble.
Okay. So as Arkadiy begins pushing through what is now, you're in these planters, but they are overgrown. Like you can see that you have people in, at least your family has people who handle this. But it's like these beds, these flower beds are just completely overgrown. But you're traveling off in the direction you're going. It's not like anything's really moving you. You're hearing things, though. You're hearing the sounds of stuff shuffling around in the bushes. You hear the sounds of like a howl, maybe. You hear the sounds of like insects that are sort of like shimmering here and there. Occasionally, you just feel like this bit of light just wash past you. But when you look up, you just can't see where it's from. But we're going to cut over to Fortuna and Chauncey, Solavita and Vincent, who at this point have made their way to up the steps of this chapel. And we can see Solavita and Chauncey are kind of hiding behind this little statue. And you're looking out and you see these 3 foxes, fully grown, like adult foxes, sitting there on this path from the arcade. Fortuna and Vincent, you're at the door. The door is, you pushed it open just a little bit, Fortuna. And the first and most obvious thing you see is the fact that there is a body swaying from inside. Now, the interior, there's a little bit of light as you look inside. There's chains on the ground next to you that are like sitting in heaps that Vincent was able to deal with. Like just a quick peek, they almost look like they're moving, or like the reflection off them kind of is almost like a trick of the eye. It's out of the corner of your eye. The chapel on the inside, as you look through it, Fortuna, as the door opens up a little wider, you can see it's like bending in these sort of strange, like asymmetrical sweeps. The walls are kind of curving without any real rhythm or plan. You can see that there are carvings like on the interior of the door and on various other places as well that have a little bit of light. You can see a lot of the pews have been upturned and have been scattered across the nave here. And their arrangement certainly doesn't look like they've just been turned over and they're in clear rows. They, at first glance, they kind of look haphazard, but then your eyes kind of linger for a moment, and the pattern looks intentional. On the far end beyond them, there is this warped altar that you can see is beneath this sunburst window. Like you can see this broken sunburst window, and that's where light is coming from. And the beams of light are kind of crisscrossing in the sky, like kind of dancing around in the middle of this nave. And it kind of gives light to these murals that are on the ceiling that you can kind of sometimes see. And there's like mirrors that are reflecting it, kind of giving the whole room a little bit more light than it probably should have. You see hanging above the altar and the rafters is the body. And you see off to the back, there's like a ladder that is like pulled away from the wall as if like its anchoring bolts have kind of pulled away that you see goes up. So that is where we're at now. So of the 3 of you that are there, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Who wants to take an action here?
I would say Fortuna's kind of pointing out to Solavita, what the majesty of this place, and that's what she's taking in first. Is just all of the
And you turn around and notice that Solovita and Chauncey are in a bush, kind of far away. Oh no!
You might not even see them. You might not even see them. Yeah, like they might even be visible to you. But
You're by yourself.
You see in the path at the base of the steps coming up to the chapel are 3 foxes that are sitting there staring up at you. These sort of reddish brown foxes. They're each adult, and they're just staring up at you currently right now. They don't seem to be like doing anything other than watching.
I feel like you all have very important family business to attend to. I should take care of the family mascots and just pet them to make them feel better.
You want to go up and talk to them now? You trust that those are real foxes?
No, I don't.
No, I never. They could be. I believe in you. Go do it. I will watch from here.
No. Yeah, you asked me to kiss a statue. Now you want me to pet foxes that aren't foxes. I'm not doing a damn thing.
So as you scream that, one of the foxes goes and turns and looks right in your direction. And they stand up and they slowly begin just trotting over towards the bush where the two of you have taken a hiding place.
Normal.
Do either of you have vigilance?
No.
Okay.
I think literally only an Arkadiy thing now.
Is it really? Wow.
Okay. Yeah, because I dropped the 1 vigilance that I had for an extra spot frailty. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about no monsters?
Nope.
Do you have no monsters?
I have liars still.
Wow. Okay.
I'll charm.
Okay.
You do have charm. You do.
I've charmed
Chauncey.
foxes
You're very
before.
charming. You have.
This doesn't require a point spend or anything like that. This is just how to flavor it. So Chauncey, your turn, and you're saying this to Solovita, and you don't notice that the fox is approaching you, but you suddenly see, like, at the base of this statue that you are hiding behind, there's like a metal plaque, and you can see the reflection of it. And as this fox is getting closer to you, you can see its eyes are not fox-like; they're serpentine. And you can also tell that the face of the fox, like the body of the fox, as it gets closer and closer, you can see there's patches of fur that are missing. Like, you can see it's just like this patchwork fur. It's not growling, it's not yipping, it's just coming over, and you just hear it kind of sniffing a little bit at the bush where you and Solovita are hiding.
Well, go on. You wanted to go charm it?
Look up. I'll look to see if I have, like, maybe I sometimes have like a sweet on me to bribe the kids to eat their food. We had just come from eating dinner.
Okay.
If sure. So, I'll toss that towards it.
Okay.
Piss off. Eat this.
Yeah. So we'll say the was it the Scarpaccio house? That's what it is. That's your way. We'll say maybe you have some, like, you have like sweets, like you have like little bit of like hard candies or something like that, right?
I'm turning into a man. I've got hard candy on me.
Yeah, just a little butterscotch, Werther's original. You just pull it.
Right. That's where the Scarpaccios get their money. Surprisingly,
it's not even in a wrapper. It's just there in your pocket, and you hold it up, and you can see the head looks very interested in it, and it's just like, yeah. And it chases after as you throw it, just chases. And as you watch the first one chase after it, Fortuna, as you're staring down, you too would notice that these foxes look a little bit malshapen in some way. As their heads turn, you can see little patches down the side of their neck that are missing fur, and you can even see with the light coming out of the door, that weird kind of dancing light just happens to spray out the door and kind of reflects off a patch on their neck. And it scales. But nonetheless, they don't do anything with you because they chase after the third fox that you can see running off into the darkness.
And so Fortuna is just waving them in.
Let's go.
I'm tempted to say Vincent chases after the rock candy too, and that's how we lose Vincent.
Oh no.
I'll say it's at this point, Arkadiy, after you had stopped to inspect the body, which is very much a bloated, distended corpse, old. You can see the head has been bashed in. You can see it's wearing wearing clothes that suggest it was probably a servant at some point, and it has a partial main wall and sigil. And you like maybe you'd kind of track the footprints of some of your family members that stepped in blood or mud. And it's at this point that you approach, and you can see Fortuna ushering everybody into the chapel, Chauncey and Solavita coming out of the bush, and that's when Arkadiy will arrive, we'll say.
Right, they're not foxes. I think that Hydra
they weren't
had
foxes.
babies with the foxes that were killed. Or maybe those are dead foxes that have been turned. I don't know.
Well,
hurry up.
I'm coming.
Arkadiy.
Yes.
Arkadiy.
Hey,
Arkadiy.
dear Chauncey.
Welcome back.
You son of a bitch! You threatened to be in my shadow. Where the fuck were you?
From time to time, Chauncey, all men must stand on 2 feet. I saw from balcony. You did fantastic job with zombie.
Of course I did, but that's not supposed to be public knowledge. People should know that I'm capable.
Well, no worries. Only family saw. It does look like you peed pants a bit, though, but...
No, it's
Again.
blood.
Oh,
So
blood.
much blood.
Yes,
It was
of
very
course, it's
brave.
blood.
They're
Close
very
the door.
brave.
Help me close the door.
Yes,
And so
yes.
Fortuna's trying to kind of reclose the.
Oh, these
Sure.
inscriptions
Doors
are
here.
interesting.
You kind of pull the door closed behind you, kind of like, and you realize the thing that was kind of causing the trouble is like those big hulking chains that Vincent was able to essentially break have kind of fallen. You sort of scoop them and slide them back, and they're extraordinarily heavy. So I'll say all of you, I'll say Vincent's with you. There's no reason to get rid of him yet. All of you are here. Again, you're inside a chapel. The chapel does not look to be in great condition. And it also doesn't look, and this would probably be immediately apparent to Solavita, it's not symmetrical. It looks strangely asymmetrical, in fact, and some weird, strange curves that don't really make sense. There's all sorts of carvings and motifs. You can see a lot of like this sinewy, almost snake-like motifs. And there's a lot of like, a lot of them have this gold flake rot that's kind of on it. You can see it's almost like this discolored gold flaking. You can see all around in the middle, the pews have been like repositioned in different ways. It certainly doesn't fit the layout of a standard Denari temple, right?
Yeah.
Altar on the far end, body hanging, there's the window, lots of murals, and the ladder kind of being pulled off from the distance that you think probably goes up to the bell tower. What's everybody doing here?
Solavita is going to immediately start like pulling out her book and going to empty pages and start to
Sure.
try to map out the dimensions of this church and try to do small sort of images or copies of the murals and sort of the carvings on the wall, if she can,
Okay.
and take some detailed looks at them.
Absolutely. So when you take a look at the motifs, the carvings, that's probably the easier one to see as they're closer to the ground. The murals are fairly high up and really are only visible when that dancing light in the middle coming from that broken window just manages to decide to dance in that direction. But when you see the motifs, you can see like, it's definitely imagery you've seen before. Is snakes with these scaled fox-like heads. You can see in many places they are constricting what looks like humans, birds in some cases. You see many of them have swans wrapped up inside of this coil. Some of them have peacocks. So you're seeing a lot of that on many of these different like false columns along the inside of the chapel here, where you can see the etchings has been in, and like you can see like they likely were filigreed or with like some kind of gold, but the flecks have kind of started to fall over time. The mural, when you get a look at it, you can see like that it's again, it's not the easiest thing to see because of the light, but it's definitely depicting what looks to be a woman seated in like this odd looking throne of some kind, or some weird sort of like gnarled wooden chair, like a large chair. So throne probably makes more sense. And at her feet, there's these scaled foxes that have been coiled around them. And you can tell that she has like these bulging eyes, like these quite large eyes. And they're kind of staring out. And as the light dances, you can see above the altar, there is on the ceiling where that hanging woman is you can see that on the ceiling there is this. It's like a cleft in the earth. It's like the woman in the mural is staring at this jagged cleft in the earth, and there's like coins and roots and teeth and such. And this woman on the throne, in one hand, you can see she's holding what looks like a severed tongue. In the other hand, she's holding what looks like this sinewy blade.
Okay. And Solavita's like trying to sketch out a rough draft of this and then goes and looks at Fortuna, Arkadiy, and Chauncey. Okay, so you see the mural up. First off, these dimensions, not good. I don't think this is structurally sound and don't think we should be standing here for very long. But the mural up here, look, Fortuna, there's some sort of throne up there, and they're all looking at this crevice over here, and there's like more of our foxes. But she's got, remember how our Chauncey French kissed the statue because he wanted to, and not because I double dared him to.
How can I forget?
Yes. Well, look, the mural here, if you look at my sketch, she's holding a severed tongue, maybe, and then like a blade, a serrated blade in the other hand, serrated. Well, hard to say with my accent.
Looking at your drawing as well, it looks like the other families. Yes, it's these snakes are coiled around the peacocks, and those are the eminence of our family.
Are we going to have to murder everybody in the ballroom?
They are trapped by chains that I was able to confirm. So, yes, very architecture for sure. Arkadiy, Chauncey, body?
One, I would argue, hopefully we don't have to, because remember that fucking bastard of old Bonaventure man, he knew great-granny from way back when, and so he would have been around whenever her great-granny passed away. So hopefully, no, I'm going to argue we don't have to murder everybody. Also, I would say, I'm guessing there's some sort of time crunch because we know that bitch ran ahead of us, right? The bell is ringing. Yes. The ladder's been pushed away. She probably went up there. She did that so that we couldn't climb up after her. I will gladly volunteer to hold the ladder in place so somebody else can bravely climb up there and deal with it.
Dear Chauncey, let me look at body first. Then we run off half-cocked and do crazy stuff.
Okay. I would say that give me like an athletics check, Arkadiy. It's kind of hanging up there. Just give me a quick athletics. I think would be fine.
I'll spend 1 point of athletics again. Ooh, got a 7.
Okay. Yeah, you are able not just without hurting yourself, but without really moving or manipulating anything else in here, you're able to kind of time this swing. She's not swinging like particularly fast. It's definitely a slow swing, but you're able to kind of grab the foot, and then you're able to basically kind of pull her down and sort of step up and jump and slash at the rope that you can see was keeping her, that she was hung by effectively. As she drops, you can definitely tell Arkadiy immediately that young woman. You can tell she's wearing, again, noble attire that looks like Mainwalling attire, not servant attire, actual, like proper formal wear, wearing the sigil of your family. On one side, you can see the tree, and on the other side, like kind of diagonal away from it, you can see the fox. And as you bring her down,
let me see the face.
So Arkadiy, as you bring her down, you can tell, strangely enough, she feels very stiff, like almost like rigor mortis is set in some ways, as her arms don't really flail, her fingers don't really move as you lay her down. And when you roll the body over and kind of move the hair back away, Fortuna, you would recognize this as a young woman by the name of Bellamira, who you've recently recruited into the family, being a distant cousin, several times removed.
What is happening? That was Cosmo that was back there, and now why? I do not understand.
It seems as if someone is sacrificing Mainwalling nobility for some purpose. That was not one of the words call?
It was speak, call, feast. Those words?
And so, Matriarch's tongue has been taken for speak. Distant relatives are being killed for call. Perhaps Otivira is enacting ritual and is simply 2 steps ahead of us, as Chauncey said.
Otivira has no ability to do these things.
Otivira does not necessarily act alone, though. She has other friends within family, just like you have us. Does she not?
Well, she has the political contacts. She does not have the contacts that can do. And Fortuna is just a little sort of incredulous, and she's not arguing the logic. But what?
Yes, she was the first one to go to the painting. She was the first one to leave. Maybe she's not really all that smart or anything. She's just intuitive, and she's fucking greedy, and she's just going until she gets what she wants. I'm not saying it's what I would do, but it's what I would do if I was her.
She's been in a better position than us for longer than us to find out more information about what needs to happen to
Fortuna is like, we're all in this together, but she is like getting more personally offended the longer this conversation goes on. And like, she knows not of these things, and she wouldn't have even known that these individuals were in the family if it weren't for me and all of the work that I have been doing. And Chauncey, did you say that if you held that ladder up, you would hold it if I climbed it?
Oh, here's the thing. Fortuna, I love you. You do all the hard work. Here's the thing. For once in her life, she's doing all the work, and you're going to reap the rewards. Let her all do she did the dirty business. She did the culling. Now you go up there and you do the drinking.
Feasting. Yes.
Definitely the end. I don't, Arkadiy, your logic for the dead body is for being call. Are you thinking like Call of the Dead?
Call, C-U-L-L.
I was thinking, you know what? I did typo. I understand now. I did C-A-L-L.
So yeah, looking around, light is dancing strange. There's light coming in the sunburst window, which Arkadiy, you would know especially. There's no stars, no moon. There was that weird dome. There was a couple of other lights, but it sort of doesn't really make sense. And then you see it just crisscrossing and dancing in the air above you in ways that kind of don't really make sense. And it's all kind of casting these strange shadows with the altar that you kind of saw her sweeping above, or I should say swaying above. What would you all be looking at or doing in this moment, do you think?
Fortuna probably should. I think she does want to kind of climb the ladder because she's curious about this light and the angles of, kind of how the light is playing off of things. So, and she's kind of curious about if she climbs up the ladder, how that would change sort of the angles and the view with all of that.
Okay. Sure. Chauncey, do you hold the ladder for her the way she asked?
Yeah.
If that's the case, no roll or anything. You can just hold the ladder. It's fine. Fortuna, as you climb up, you can see above your head that several rungs up, there is there's definitely a trap door, like this sort of scorched and somewhat ill-fitting trap door that goes, again, which you would presume is like a belfry, a bell tower. But you said you specifically wanted to look back down, right? So
the lights are interesting to me.
As you look down, there's something about the layout of the pews that looks kind of interesting. You can see the light is reflecting off of these mirror icons on the wall. It's like, remember how there's a few different these mirror icons on the walls? Mm-hmm. And you can see almost like it almost looks like it's reflecting one of your family members, but it doesn't make sense. The angle doesn't make sense. You see someone moving about in that mirror, but it can't be Solavita because she's over there. It can't be Arkadiy is over there, and Chauncey's holding the ladder. And you can see Vincent is like kind of staring, maybe looking up at the at the glass or something like that. Or maybe he's back by the front door, like looking at the chains or whatever it might be. And none of it makes sense. Like none of the angles should reflect any of them. So those are some things you see. Now, there are spends available here if you would like to make any. In this case, I would say there's a lot of things I would take. So if you want to make a pitch, like if looking down at the way the pews are laid out, there's something familiar about it to you. So you could make
like a nobility or forgotten lore kind of a.
I would take forgotten lore is not entirely necessary, but I would take it, or nobility. Okay. Either one of those I think is fine.
I'll do nobility because I've got one extra to play with there. So I will do the spend for nobility.
Okay. As you stare at the layout of the pews, which you can tell is intentionally laid out, like even though a few of them look to be busted, you start to think that maybe they're not like intentionally upturned, they're just busted. But you can tell as you look down that they are laid out in this peculiar pattern. It's a spiral arrangement. And you can see that they're all kind of turning, strangely enough, away from the altar, which is not at all what you would expect in a temple to Denari. But as you're looking at it, you realize that you've seen that symbol before, that weird kind of spirally symbol. And you remember in Pelletier's study, there is like a wall panel, like a panel of wall, like this sort of stone, this stone wall that you think that you remember that symbol being kind of carved into. And it's always been there. Like, as far as you remember, you've seen that whenever you've gone into his study.
So from at this angle up here, so Lavita, it's the spiral. You and Chauncey have spent time with Pelletier. Remember the spiral in the stone? That is.
Oh yeah.
That is the shape of the pews from this angle.
That's okay. So we really should have kidnapped Pelletier and forced him to come with us.
Yep. And Solavita, there is a spend available as you're taking these drawings of the murals and of the motifs as best you can. There is a spend available if you wanted to. Forgotten Lore would probably be a very good one here if you have it.
Sure. Yeah, I was probably gonna go, and Chauncey, if you hold the ladder, I'm going to take a drawing of the spiral as well. But let me spend Forgotten Lore.
Okay.
Go. Nope. Go here. Spend. There we go.
Okay, so a few things I'm going to tell you for this. I'm just going to give you a combo deal. You notice as the light moves around and gives more vision of the mural, you realize that there is a faint inscription that it's hard to read, obviously, from this distance because the ceiling is decently high up. But it says, speak, and this is underneath the image, by the way, of the woman in that like gnarled wooden throne, holding a tongue in one hand and this kind of curved, sinewy dagger in another. And the inscription says, speak not with thy breath, but with the tongue that named thee. And as you write that down and you try to draw the image, you realize that blade, in fact, looks familiar. Years ago, you spent some time with Fortuna going through inventory of all these different artifacts that your family was selling off to maintain appearances. And while this one had nothing to do specifically with the reasons why you were doing that back then, you do remember it now that you look at it. And you remember that Althavira apparently took it and she wanted it. She to let Pelletier sell it. And you remember she took it and maybe displayed it at some point or hid it at some point in her room, in her chambers. And then since you made the points, Ben, I'll give you one more thing. As you're looking at the friezes, at these like motifs, there is this long frieze along the upper wall. And it's like the art is so disparate. Like it also, again, just like everything else in here, everything feels asymmetrical. The motifs are consistent, but the style in which it's being portrayed is so different. But you notice that it kind of shows the manor, like your estate. And you guys have always known that your estate is strange. Like in you especially, Solavita, like guild architects come out here to study just the incongruities of it all. It just makes no sense. There's like a dozen different architectural movements that are clashing in every space. There's doors that open up onto nothing. Like and so easy to get lost. Like you don't even have to worry too much about security, because if someone tries to break in, they'll probably never find their way out.
Yeah, we found a few bodies.
You see this manor stretched around on this frieze, and you do notice at one point there is this like crack in the manor, and you can see spilling out from it are just like serpents. It's like the manor is just like birthing serpents that are just spilling out. You can see there's more of those images of like strangling birds and humans, and you can see some of them are like slipping off into the canals of Gelio Hill to swim away. And those are the things that you would probably observe with deeper study of the various things that you were looking at, the motifs, the murals, etc.
Fortuna, Arkadiy, Chauncey, can you hear me down there? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Great.
Yes.
So it looks like our banner over there, Fortuna. If you like squint a little bit and rotate your head, the frieze, you can see that our manor is giving birth to a bunch of snakes through that little crack in the bottom.
Oh, yes, I see it.
Yes. Okay. So is that maybe the putrid tide or something like an event where we're trying to, in theory, take over? But maybe. Anyway. And then if you look over here underneath the throne, it says, "Speak not with thy breath, but with the tongue that named thee." And she's holding the tongue. Did we want to bring the tongue with us?
She has the tongue. We
left the tongue in the statue. Technically, Chauncey's got some of the blood in his mouth, so maybe that'll do.
There was no tongue in the statue.
Oh, never mind.
He just felt a tongue. When you checked Eliana's body, her tongue was missing.
It's missing.
As if
right.
Her throat and her face had been butchered.
Okay, yeah.
So terribly sorry. It was just a ghost tongue. I don't have the real thing.
So
Ghost tongue, way of the samurai.
My bad.
So far ahead of us. She has. It's the knife. It's the knife that she knew what it was, and she kept the knife, and she didn't sell it, and now she knows about this as well.
She has been planning, obviously, for decades to usurp power.
But
as I said, she's clearly ahead of us.
She is. What?
Well, Pelletier is her close advisor and is probably the most knowledgeable man on Menwallen family still existing.
Arguable, but sure, yeah, we'll give it to him for now.
And there's Solavita, have you seen everything there is to see? Arkadiy, Chauncey, there is a trap door that I can see from here that we probably want to go through if we think we've looked
at everything. Is there anything else to be learned from the body?
It would. So I would say anybody with leechcraft could do.
Let me come down
if they would like.
I've been working a lot healing people, so I've gotten a little better at it.
I would take Vigilant too, actually. Vigilance too, as well. If you wanted to, Arkadiy, if you wanted to take a look while Solavita is doing her.
Sure.
So if you want to make a spend, I can tell you what you observe.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, so at first glance, it looks like her neck is broken, likely from being hung. And the strangeness is Bellamira. You all had just seen her just before you went up to say goodbye to Eliana, and before all the strangeness happened. She was there. She wasn't in the room with you because she was this new, kind of younger audience that Fortuna has been recruiting of late, and honestly, consolidating a lot of supporters by bringing these people in. So you're familiar with her and you know who she is. You're not necessarily friends with her or anything like that, but it does seem particularly strange, Arkadiy, that her body is so tense and so rigid, and just the timing of it, you would know it. You know, you've killed people. You know that rigor mortis wouldn't necessarily set in this fast. Something is particularly peculiar. And so as you're examining the body, less for like a doctorly purpose and more just for anything out of the orts, you do notice that she has fang wounds on various parts of her body. Sometimes on her arm and her neck, quite a few of them. And you can tell that they are, there's like basically 2 at a time. And they all seem to be interspersed around the same distance. You would guess that she was bitten by some kind of venomous creature.
Zolavita, dear cousin.
Yes.
The poor girl clearly has been bitten many times by serpents. This is why I think the rigor mortis-like condition exists. But we must be prepared that there may be venomous snakes in the area, or that Altavira might have access to perhaps serpentine sorcery.
I remember that poison. It's not fun. Not at all.
Yes, I admit maybe to keeping some of those documents that we found from down below and working. And she'll kind of like slap the little medical kit. I've got a few family recipes for poisons and antidotes going on these days.
Miss poor Elamira could have used that antidote. Poor, we just saw her. She was just here to pay her respects. And Fortuna's basically just hanging out on the ladder, being mad right now and kind of waiting.
Okay, we can be mad and walking.
Even.
We can be mad and walking.
Right.
And the Solovita like reaches up to try to help Fortuna come down the ladder.
And Fortuna is moving us towards where there's a trapdoor.
Okay, yeah, you can push up to the trapdoor if you want. Yeah, that's not a problem. Okay, you climb up the rest of the ladder, and you push at the bottom of it. You can tell like there is the wood itself of the trapdoor isn't hot, but you can tell there's scorch marks here. Okay, as if it suffered some kind of fire damage. But when you push it, pushes open, it creaks. You can tell it doesn't fit as well as it probably once did within the frame, but it does open up, and you get hit with some cold air as it does so. You didn't probably realize just how humid and it felt and sort of musky it felt inside of the or muggy it felt inside of the temple until now that you push out into the air. And there is like this slicing wind that's kind of cutting through here and there. You can see that there's a broken railing around one side of this what looks like a bell tower, belfry, or however you want to call it, kind of like off to the northwestish side. You can see that there is this rusted bell housing right in the center that just sort of looms in the middle up here. And you can see its supporting beams have been like scorched, it looks like as well. And as the wind cuts through, you can see all these feathers, like or portions of feathers, just sort of drifting around almost aimlessly. But you don't see any birds. You do see some nesting hollows beneath the ceiling, like much higher up, and nested underneath the roof of this tower. Like definitely, as you push yourself up and step, the floorboards are creaking. You can tell they're very brittle in some places. You're sure this is not in good condition. And there's glass that you can see that has been scattered about, broken glass. And then, Fortuna, your eyes set on what looks like a crossbow that has been perched against like one of the intact railings up here. And that is what you see. There's room enough for all of you, but you know that like it's a relatively tight space up here, but you could probably all get up here. Or maybe Vincent volunteers to stay down.
And Fortuna, being kind of the first one up, sort of regrets this as it's windy up here and she's kind of getting older and she has no one to help her up, essentially. And so it's a lot of like, and then she kind of like, be very careful up here. It's very quite windy and there is weaponry here. So be hasty. I don't want to be up here alone for long. And she kind of puts her back against something kind of while she's kind of the only one up here until everyone else arrives.
Well, I think Arkadiy, you better go up next then.
And Arkadiy, when the wind hits you, like it's cold and you start to feel your hand get a little bit stiff again. It doesn't go as bad as it did before when the lights went out. and Eliana died, but you can feel it come back a little bit, not in full force, but your hand suddenly gets stiff and a chill, probably more so than Fortuna, rushes through you.
This is not good weather to be out in. I think we need to make haste back down as soon as we can.
Russ, he's someone or something up here. This must be where we're to go next. And Fortuna sort of wanders over to the bow that's sort of leaning against the one side.
It is in excellent condition. There are some, as you kind of pick it up and turn it around, it's fairly heavy. There are some light and superficial scorch marks, but none of it seems to have affected like the stock or any of the mechanisms. Everything looks to be intact. It actually looks like it's honestly extraordinarily well made. Fortuna, you do you have, let's see, you've got nobility. No, that's not quite it. City secrets, maybe. Yeah, do you have city secrets, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
No spend necessary. But the sheer fact that you have this, as you're turning it around, you notice, almost obscured by some of those superficial scorch marks, there is this small little engraving in the stock, and of a swan that you can tell has been blackened. And you would know that there is like a Triskadane secret police. Triskadane is like the council of random people that run Eversink.
Mm-hmm.
It's not run by a king or a queen. Mm-hmm. It's not run by a senate. It's run by random people. I think 11 random people is the theory. And there is a secret police, so to speak, that ensures their security. And they are known as the Black Swans.
Oh.
And you would know from your city secrets that they carry these types of weapons, and only they are allowed to carry these weapons. No one really knows why, but there's rumors. And you seem to have one of these. The extremely powerful and excellent crossbow. It's called the Falcon's Eye. If you have your PDF, look on page 141, and that is the item. Or 148, excuse me.
This is, and assuming kind of everyone has joined, this is a Triskadane crossbow. This is secret police crossbow in our temple.
Well, it's very nice crossbow. This is true. Where we are really, I have no idea. This is not the world this is not the house that I know.
But there should be a secret police bearing this crossbow.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we are in very cramped space, and I do not see anyone else.
But was there someone else at some point recently?
It's true. I mean, we saw the
What is recently here in this place where space and time do not seem to mean anything? As far as I know, this temple does not exist.
Maybe maybe they came here during the last time, this whole passing happened.
Perhaps.
Well,
decades ago.
Arkadiy, can you maybe look around up there and vigilant see if there's a lot of dust movements or things like that, maybe to indicate recent movement?
He'll scan around the area and see if he sees any patterns or footprints or disturbances.
Sola Beta specifically said up, so I'm just going to go with that. As you look up there, again, in the middle of the room, or in the middle of this tower, there's the bell housing, obviously. But as you look up and you see the movement of these feathers, and no signs, again, of any birds whatsoever, you notice that in the hollows, Arkadiy, it definitely looks like, despite the fact that there aren't nests, definitely seems like something has been stuffed inside of them.
Let me take a closer look at what is in hollows. Then he'll try to get up there and pull something out.
I just need a athletic spin from anyone. 1 point of athletics will get it. No roll necessary, just to kind of climb up. It's just the sheer fact that the contorting yourself oddly, climbing on top of the bell, getting on someone's shoulders, anything like that would be fine.
Jeff, these feathers, are they white or black? Swan
they're
feathers?
definitely black feathers. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yep.
Chauncey, are you up here?
I will spend the point of athletics.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So as Chauncey's climbing up, Arkadiy is climbing on top of the bell housing to kind of get a better look at what's going on inside the nesting hollows. And Arkadiy, that's when you see that stuff into that are like you reach up, you grab whatever it is and you pull it down and you let it fall and it slaps down onto the floorboards, these creaked, scorched floorboards. And right as Chauncey climbs up out, like you can see an arm falls down from the nesting hollows and like careens off of his shoulder and slaps onto the ground. And it is a scorched arm, left arm of possibly a man, it looks like, from the size of it. Arkadiy, you start looking at some of these other hollows and they're just, the body parts just start following. And you find effectively a dismembered and a scorched corpse that has been stuffed up here.
So perhaps we find our black swan after all. Someone went to a great deal of effort to hide the body.
I don't like being this right.
I think I'll just carry his crossbow to take it back with us to present as evidence later. Not because it makes me feel better.
Just make sure you shoot straight that crossbow, Chauncey?
Of course, I killed a sorceress with a crossbow, have you know? Well, I shot her in the head.
It was a very good
I ricocheted it off of something else and it hit her in the head.
Man of many talents.
And Fortuna, kind of as they're looking at, Arkadiy's looking at the body, Chauncey's looking at this falcon's eye, which is a gorgeous crossbow, by the way. Dropped it in the Discord.
Did you look at the stats of it?
I have no clue. Yeah.
It lowers the crit. It lowers the crit require. It gives you basically a +2 damage modifier, but it also lowers the crit range. So instead of +5 over, you have to be +4 over.
Oh my god!
Oh wow, nice.
But
that's crazy.
Only black swans are allowed to carry it. So if you carry it, you never know; it could potentially happen.
So Fortuna wants to just sort of do a circle around. So like we've seen this, we've seen the feathers, we've seen the body. She's kind of seeing what else there is to see.
Yeah. So there's this broken railing. There's the bell housing. Those probably would catch your eye. I would say maybe those two things of most interest.
Look at the broken railing.
Okay. It's fractured. It's definitely iron, but you can see the supports have been twisted outward. And you can see the drop below is extremely long and uneven. And similar to when Arkadiy was climbing down the wall of the estate, when you look down, Fortuna, you have this moment where it just looks like the ground is falling away. And like you get this moment of dizziness as you sort of swirl a bit. Take a point of morale damage here as your head just swirls a bit.
Oh dear. And she's thankful that she walks with the cane now, and she's sort of thankful that she has it because it's a little extra sort of support for herself. Oh dear. That's very, very high, very high. Oh, it's quite unsettling.
You don't have vigilance though, right?
No, I don't.
What would you like to make a spend of some kind here? I mean, I guess nobility honestly would be fine.
Yeah, I'll do that.
As you're recovering and you grab a section of the broken rail in your head, you're just sort of shaking your head and you're looking out and trying to even your eyes a bit on the horizon. You catch sight of movement out on the back of your estate, and you recognize the clothing of Althavira. She's at a distance, and you can see that she's quickly moving across some kind of. It's a courtyard. It doesn't make sense to you. You don't recognize it, and it's surrounded. It looks like by a couple a couple half walls that have been broken off at the top, and you can see, and some of them go up a little higher, but you can see like there are figures that are lumbering, almost loping with her, as she has like her own little crew of like 2 or 3 different figures moving along with. She doesn't look up at you. You can see her in the distance, and she just kind of disappears beneath this stone archway, and you can see splashing of water as whatever, like these big lumbering figures, not unlike the servant that attacked you, kind of disappear out of your sight.
Savita,
And she
come quick.
was moving with purpose too.
Oh,
You can
yes.
definitely tell she didn't look lost. She knew where she was going.
Always
I'm here.
so many steps ahead. And she kind of points in that direction. I just saw Altavira, and she has escorts with her of some, like what Cosimo had turned into, and she knows where she is going.
Okay, well, we should probably get out of here, and I think we can take the path over there and get close to where she's going.
Just and Fortuna again is just sort of so distressed at this. She was here and now she's over
It's
there.
okay.
Which
We're allowed to murder her in the alternate world.
You should have let me
There
kill
won't
her
be a
5
body.
years ago.
I
when
know,
wanted
right?
to.
I would have helped you bury the body, Arkadiy.
there is a
Just speaking of murder, just so you know, that thing kept strangling me, even for a long time, until I had completely smashed its brain out.
Well,
Just so
right.
you're aware.
You've got a nice crossbow now. Shoot them in the head. Let's go.
What I just want you to know, like it kept going.
We
I
hear you,
understand.
Chauncey. We
Not-
believe you.
Not
Let's
first
go.
time. Not first time I fought zombies.
Well, it was my first time, so I don't know if you fought zombies before.
I understand. You can tell me all about it as we run to try
I've-
to catch Altavira.
Can we go downstairs, please?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
already
Let me
moving.
help you.
As you start to
And
climb,
Fortuna
wherever-
really, it was she needs assistance on the
Yeah.
way down.
Yes,
from
I'm here.
Salvador.
whoever's the last
I
one
understand
down,
your speak.
right as you're about to pull the trap door shut, you suddenly hear the sound of the chime, the bell itself, just ring out in this thunderous glory, and you see it move back and forth and back. You see nothing causing it. There's no one pulling a rope. There's no automated mechanism. But as it swings towards you and you see the bell lift up, there's no clapper inside. But it's nonetheless making this sound back and forth, and then it comes and settles. So whoever that was, you see that as the last thing you see before you pull the
It
hatch
is-
shut.
More sorcery. There is nothing in the bell. There is no one here.
I believe ringing of bells
Yeah.
signifies each step Altavira has successfully completed in becoming matriarch.
So she has killed enough of us, probably.
Perhaps. Is guess, but I think maybe good guess. All I know for sure is we must get to her before she completes the ritual and becomes matriarch.
Yes.
So half cocked it is.
As you get back down into the temple, you realize the door is open and Vincent is nowhere to be seen.
Where did cousin Vincent go this
You don't have
time?
time to look for him.
It does not
terribly
matter.
sorry.
Yes, Chauncey is right. We must press on. Perhaps he is already ahead of us. Perhaps he is doing his own thing, but we must press on.
Is
I'll
everyone
leave
ahead
him
of
a
us?
note on the door. I'll pin a note on the door for him later.
Well,
And I'll catch up with you. Go, go, go.
Don't take long.
2 seconds. I'll just leave him a note so he knows where we went.
Everyone seems to know where we're going, except for us. And Fortuna's just hobbling along, and she's probably the most consistently foul mood that she's been in.
Makes sense.
She's hobbling along.
Okay. So as you guys depart, you leave a note for Vincent. That's fine.
Yep.
Where do you think you would head next? Where do you think
Well,
you
we
would go?
were so high up. Were we able to kind of see a good route, or like the buildings we would need to go into to figure out the direction to get
Very-
to where she was?
You know the direction she is. You can certainly head off in that direction. That's not an issue. In terms of a good route, it's hard to say because up top versus down on the surface, things just don't look quite the same. You see things getting in the way. Like you can see in the far distance that glowing kind of dome that helps give some of the back, the back section of your estate light. You can't see the maze gardens from where you're at. You can see this weird like hanging gardens edifice. And I would say Fortuna near that was where that kind of, that almost like a courtyard, like an atrium, basically, without like the surrounding buildings that she was rushing through. You saw her over there. And so you kind of know it's off in that direction. So you could certainly follow her if you like. Is that the idea?
Can I bargain? Can I use a city secret spend to kind of get a good route, a good sort of shortcut, maybe even put her off?
I would say you don't even really, I wouldn't even require a spend. I think your city secrets would probably just make it that you can find a way there. Because you do realize as you come down here, there's a series of statues and walls and like half architecture as if buildings not finished in construction, or others that have been torn down, or like missing parts. And I would say you're able to basically navigate. Like I would say you can do that without a spend in this case.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Fortuna has city secrets as well, so I almost imagine we're kind of like it could be that way, and then perhaps that way. And
no, those statues over there look better, I think.
Oh yes, I do think you're right.
I'll say because the two of you take the time, I'll say you just get right there, and you very quickly close the ground. You hear the sounds, I'll say Chauncey, of the foxes fighting over things in the bushes, but you don't notice them. You hear the sounds of buzzing of insects. But eventually, Fortuna and Solavita, you're able to find this wide and shallow courtyard that you saw from above, and you can see it's mostly submerged already. The flooring is marble, but it's underneath this very sluggish, only like ankle deep water. It's not particularly deep. You can see there's like this green and brown algae that's just sort of drifting languidly across the top. Occasionally you can see like there's a soft drop of moisture from like what looks like these columns that go up a little higher. And this is what I mean by like those half walls that kind of move up around it, as if there was intended to be structure around this, but never finished. There's columns that you can see are, Solavita, you would immediately notice they're almost less columns and more artistic displays of like twisted limbs or curling vines that are rising up from this pool of water. And you can see that they are supporting this shadowed upper gallery that doesn't even really seem to have a clear route up to it. It's just sort of lingering over top of this area. There's all sorts of statuary here, Solavita, and you can see they almost look like they're all weeping. And at the center, again, like the algae's kind of moving and shifting around, and the air is very briny, and the acoustics are a little bit odd too as you're moving about. And you can see across the way there's this half-flooded archway, Fortuna, that that was the direction that Althavira went. You, Solavita, hear the sounds of weeping. And you just hear.
Oh, do you hear that? Is there a direction I can start to walk into, like
all around you, and it's like echoing every single space?
Oh, it's quite loud, actually.
Is it Vincent?
No, it's not Vincent. I'm going to walk closer to one of the weeping-looking statues. Is that where one of them is? Oh, okay, yeah. No, are these? These are all statues that are crying.
You can see like all of them are like posed in like kind of almost like a prostrate or devotional pose of some kind. Mm-hmm. You can see that they are like there's moisture even streaking down their faces, mm-hmm. and it's collecting on the ground in front of them. Either if they're leaning over the pool of the courtyard, or if they're just leaning over the earth, you can see like there's like this purplish coloring that is beginning to manifest underneath it. and that you're fairly confident the weeping's coming from them.
Okay, great. So these statues, they're all very active and crying. Fortuna, maybe you're able to recognize the era of their clothing. Are they? They're all statues.
I can certainly look to see if I recognize any of these visages or time period.
You've got like forgotten lore and everything, right? So no spend, I would say. They wear the clothes they're wearing are less ornate than anything that your family or any other noble has worn in the past several generations. They almost wear like something more akin to togas in a way. Not quite that, but close to it. So you would guess that these are early generational, kind of like at least made to look that way.
These are our forefathers of old.
Okay, so maybe like the first ones that were sacrificed for this bargain?
Question, does it matter if Arkadiy doesn't understand magic at all. So this to him, he's like, we're looking at statues, so let's go.
Okay.
It's all equally horrible.
Well,
and Fortuna wants to put her finger in some of this liquid that sort of where they're sort of weeping and it's kind of collecting underneath. She does want to.
Okay. You reach down. It's very thick, almost viscous. It's like a kind of a milky kind of thickness to it. And you kind of scoop it up on your finger and you smell it. It's got like a metallic smell to it, but like I'm not sure if you were willing to taste it, but there's like a bitter metallic smell to it. And when you kind of wipe it off, it's stained your fingers. Like it's like your finger looks like it's just like this port wine kind of purplish color has just stained your finger.
Oh, it's.
Don't lick that.
It's metallic, though. It's coming
like
from
blood?
statue, but metallic.
It's far more like violety than you would that you normally would see a blood, but it has that kind of thickness. Arkadiy, while they're poking at this and you're just like looking around with your vigilance, you do notice as you're watching like that these half walls, a couple of them stick up a little bit higher, and you can see this like upper gallery that has like a balcony it's in shambles, but it's still sort of there, and it kind of connects to the rear of your manor. And you could, like, as if like at some point in the past, or like it connected either to someone's balcony, like someone's bedroom or something like that. But you can see it kind of connects into theirs. It's all filled in shadow and such, but you can certainly see a walk pattern from in the dark with your eyes from your manor across this shadowed gallery down into the courtyard and then towards that archway. And like considering what Fortuna saw, it might dawn on Arkadiy that might have been the route she took to avoid notice from others.
It looks as if Altavira made way out of manor along pathway up there, down from gallery and through archway. So she's very sneaky and very fast and very far ahead of us. So perhaps we stop playing with statues and get after her before she becomes a matriarch.
Okay. Do you want me to talk to them, or should we just go then, Fortuna?
If you can talk to them, I think any information that we have could be helpful.
Okay. I can do that. Jeff, would you like or accept just a sorcery roll, or would you need a corruption spend for this?
What are you trying to accomplish? Like what are you looking to get out of this, you think?
I guess, just asking them about what happened to them to cause them to become these statues, and what are they crying?
What makes you so sad?
What makes you so sad?
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a spend. You can do a corruption spend, or if you want to save your corruption, you could do. I don't know. What was your other idea? What was your other pitch besides?
Just like a pure sorcery roll to see if I can kind of connect with them.
I'll take it. Difficulty, though, is going to be slightly raised on this. So we're going to make this a 6. So you would need to spend some sorcery points, I would think.
Yes, I'm going to spend...
I should also, by the way, mention, you all would have gotten 3 refresh tokens from your exploration of the chapel, and then another 2 from your exploration of the belfry. So 5 total. That's the one benefit of looking around, is that you can get these types of rewards.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, I'm going to spend 3 sorcery. Let's see here. Oof. Nope, it's a 5. I don't get any connection to them.
Oh,
okay.
No.
What I would say is it's not so much that they're refusing to talk to you, but what you do get is they try. And as they're weeping, you see that weep turns into this violent hacking cough. And it almost sounds like this, one of them is mentioning something about poison, as you get the sense that maybe it's less about them not being able to talk, but something caused them to lose their voice, or something killed them in life, or whatever it might have been. And that seems to have kind of stolen their voice.
Yeah. Fortuna, you didn't lick that, right?
This I sure did.
Okay. I
think
these guys are talking about the poison, so maybe spit that out a little bit.
No.
I'm also going to quickly grab a little vial and collect some of those teardrops. Okay, Arkadiy, I'm ready to go.
Suck on this hard candy to kind of get the saliva going, to get it out of there.
Are you sure? You sure you're ready to go now? Don't you perhaps have picnic statues for a while, perhaps?
Okay, no.
Yes, Chauncey.
Okay.
Chauncey, thank you very much. It will definitely help. I'm getting older and my mouth is dry.
We'll have an opportunity to say congratulations to Altavira as she takes throne, and we can become her supplicants.
Well, you got sassy in the last 5 years.
Fortuna's cane just sort of hits Arkadiy in the back of the leg.
As usually reserved for me.
When I say we should hug, but it just puts me off.
Okay. And Fortuna just looks at you and whacks you on the leg with their cane as well. As you feel included now.
I'm standing behind Fortuna and I'm like, not me, it's you today.
This is why I spent the last 5 years with Thieves Guild. But let's go.
Are we okay if I take 1 or 2 of those points from the refresh?
Yeah. So we had a total of 5 points for refresh
between the belfry and the chapel. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you can
I'm
grab
flush
2.
on general, so I don't need any of those.
I wouldn't mind 2 as well.
I'll take the 1 remaining one to bump up my athletics a little bit then, if that's okay.
Yes.
All right. So you push through after the direction that archway you think you saw Altavira going. And you can see as you do, you start walking down this like a corridor between these half walls for a bit. And the floor again is submerged underneath ankle deep water. It's not hard to walk in it, but your feet, obviously your shoes are getting wet. And then after the first maybe 20 steps or so, this corridor starts to angle in a bit, and then eventually comes to this kind of unnatural drop off that, if this was your real estate, your actual manor, likely would have dropped off into into what you think would be the bank that goes out to the water, right? That it goes out to the ocean. But here it's just this deep drop off, and there's no beach. You don't see a beach in front of you. There's no shore, because you guys, but the way I envision it is that you have an elevated grassy tier, a terrace in the back.
Yeah.
There's a stone wall that sits above and protects your your estate from floods whenever the water level gets rising. But then there's also, in low tide, there's like a small little rocky beach as well. You don't see the beach, but you certainly see the drop off. And Arkadiy, you would see that there are what looks like claw marks in where the drop off is, as if somebody or something or a creature with claws, like bear claws, like literally scaled down the side of this thing. And you see, if you look, lean over, there does seem to be some little like utility hatch, like halfway down. Now, the danger, though, is you can't see anything out in the direction of the ocean. Like, there's no ocean. It's just this blue-gray dullness. It's not even a mist. It's just like a nothing. And you see the same thing maybe 5 feet below where that hatch is. It's just nothing. You don't even know what to make of it. But you certainly see claw marks down the side into this hatchway.
I do not know, cannot say what that the blue-gray nothingness is, but if you see here, it looks like the creatures that were with Ultivera hung across the precipice and crawled down to that hatch there. I think that is where we must go, but we must do it with great care, because otherwise, perhaps we don't need to worry about future anymore.
And Fortuna, like remembering the feeling when she was sort of leaning over the bell tower, is kind of leaning at kind of this as well.
It's a little daunting because like you don't even know what's beneath it. Like you don't even know what to make of it. It's not swirling. It doesn't look like fog. It's just this dull, blank, blue-gray palette. Now, whatever climbed down Arkadiy had sharp claws that embedded into like this stone wall. You guys don't have that. So I would say you have a couple options. If one of you wants to do like a preparedness roll to say you have some rope with you, we could do that. If anyone wants to, because I know a few of you got preparedness. If someone wants to do that.
I definitely want to spend it. I've been trying to think of a flavor kind of a thing of like how it would make sense
like a belt
on this day that I've got.
Like a sash that you wrap and wrap around, something like that maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. So I will. Okay. So I still have to pass the roll.
Yeah, it's a check. So you're not spending it like, because preparedness is a general ability, so it's a roll. So all you're doing is like making a check.
The usual. Yeah.
Simple stuff. Yeah. You just spend as many as you want.
So is it going to be a difficulty 4 or is it going to be a
difficulty 4?
All right. I'll spend 2.
Okay.
I will spend 2. And let's see what I roll. I rolled a 3. So 5.
Oh, 5 total. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, you unwrap this thick, like middling, it's almost like a layers and layers of a cummerbund that you start to unravel, and you find like a section of the wall to anchor it to, and that allows you all to climb down without having to do any sort of athletic spins or athletics checks, and potentially fall into whatever the hell this is. Okay.
Yeah, it's so much cloth. So like, and Fortuna is always dressed very frumpy, and kind of her clothing is always kind of like oversized and whatnot. So it's not surprising that she has like all of this cloth there. I think this will be helpful. Yes, to hopefully get us safely down.
How did you prepare?
Yes, let's.
Yes, Chauncey?
Nothing. I do actually want to know.
One never knows when you might need some extra cloth for something.
You see Arkadiy's just shaking his head and tying it off already. He's like, you talked way too much.
You missed us. You know you did.
You sort of climb down and you find yourselves in this it's definitely like a crawl space, and you're on kind of hands and knees, and you feel yourselves crawling all the way back towards like this manor that you just left. You're going underneath this low level, maybe 10 feet or so below, and you're just crawling through it, and there's stone on either side. There's no like, you don't see earth. It's all like this stone tunnel that you're crawling in. Eventually you find like an end piece, and you can tell that there is a small slip of clothing, like a tear that looks a lot like what the color that Althevira was wearing. This dark, almost like this not quite black. She didn't go that far, but very dark clothing. And when you push through and you kind of push that open, it opens up into the interior of your manor. And you feel heat, and that Arkadiy probably feels very welcome to you as you come in. But the air is very hot. It's very still. It's also like there's a smell in here of like iron filings, like resin, lacquer, like Solavita. As you climb in, like you're getting smells like you would get in like a architect's guild workshop, right? And as you look up, everything's dark in here. Do we say that? Do any of you have lanterns? You carry lanterns around? You say?
And considering my occupation, I probably might have something because I would go into dark, cramped areas often.
It's a lantern. I'm not gonna freak out about it, especially since the lights went out. Some of you could have grabbed a candle or a lantern. It's fine. Okay.
Oh yeah, true.
You light it up, and what you see are drafting tables. A handful of them. They're dominating the room in many respects, and you can see that there's layers of like curling sheets of vellum, and you could tell like you can even see like the one closest to you, Solavita, like there's definitely blueprints, and you can see that others have like these geometric lattices on the walls. You can see wall-mounted racks with like various tools like protractors, plumb bobs, chisels, etc. At the far end, you can see like there is a incomplete section of wall that just kind of juts up from the floor, and like this partial archway that has these runic glyphs engaged, like engraved into it, and they're like wrapping around it and up that archway are this bronze cabling. You can see that reflects the light of your lantern. Above you, you can hear the sounds of clinking, and you can see that there's chains, these weighted chains in hoists, probably for moving things around, obviously in the room, more likely to like move and shift panels of stone and such. Some of them are still swaying. The room is tiled as well, I should say, and you can see there's all like these gold leaf traces all over the place, these concentric circles, all these weird geometric patterns all over here. And like as you watch, and I'll say, Arkadiy, you probably noticed this, as you watch this, like there definitely is a pattern, and it all, as you kind of follow that pattern, there's like this stone cabinet in the wall itself. And also in the middle of the room, you can see just on the other side of one of these drafting tables, there's a body, and there is like a pool of blood as well. You see no signs of Althevira or of her friends currently. What's everybody doing?
Fortuna's going to rush over to the body. Like we're 2 for 2 so far of people that she's kind of brought into the fold. So that's going to be her priority.
Fortuna, you rush over and you can see it is the head, similar to the one of Cosimo, has been like caved in. And you can see like one of the arms has been ripped and is kind of hanging almost by the tendons and the tethers. Like someone tried to rip the arm off. You see, again, not as so much young as she is in her 50s, but somebody new, a woman by the name of Donata Mainwallen. And you recruited her when you discovered her in the Temple Market District one afternoon, when you learned that part of Pelletier's like network of sellers, there were some that were very friendly. And one of the reasons this person was very friendly to you, it turns out, was that her mother used to work in the Mainwallen household. And likely her father was one of the Mainwallens themselves. So she's sort of a bastardized child. But you recognize her. And again, newly recruited and dead on the floor.
And this sort of Fortuna's kind of mood had recently just sort of been very sort of resentful with Althevira kind of always being one step ahead. But now she's increasingly sad that these are members, and she views kind of the family, especially in recent years, of like everyone is important, everyone is part of the family, everyone is important. It doesn't matter kind of how far out on the tree this branch is, and so she sort of breaks her a bit. And it's not the person so much as sort of the accumulation now of these. This is, do you not understand? The future of our family is having all of the members in the family. And how much pulling does there need to be? And so she's just very kind of focused here on this, and she's getting very sad and overwhelmed.
I was going to go to the blueprint table and the art thing.
Oh, feel free.
Seeing that Fortuna is sad. Solovita would go up to her and like crouch down next to her and go, that should be what Manuelan cares about. That should be what happens. But that is not what Altavera cares about. It's what she would destroy if she became head, and what you would probably need to protect. I mean, I hope you don't hear the police car outside, but I do hope that okay, great. I do hope that you're able to overcome this, because you should be able to protect these people you care about.
But is this what it takes to be the...
No, it's just one path, and she's chosen this much darker route. It does not have to be the only path.
Right. And, we know that you know the golden rule. You do unto others before they do unto you. So we're just going to go take care of this pish-posh, and then we'll be better in the future.
No one's going to find the body down here. Just think of the golden light at the end of this tunnel.
You're a sweet girl. I don't tell you that enough. Thank you. Thank you, Chauncey, for kind words. Did you
Chauncey
see?
and I are the best, yes. High five, Chauncey.
Arkadiy is once again shaking his head and following the pattern on the floor over towards this cabinet to see if maybe that was how they got out of the room.
Well, one thing you would notice, Arkadiy, looking around, you don't see a door out of here. Like, you don't see a window, you don't see a door, there's nothing, just the way you came in. But when you come over to this, it's a cabinet, it's stone, it's flush with the wall. It's basically featureless, except there is a triangle-shaped keyhole, and you can see that there's some like faint discoloration around the edges. You would think somebody recently accessed this.
Am I able to maybe, or one of us able to maybe pick this lock?
That would be me.
Yeah, someone could do a burglary check, or if you'd rather just make a spend, you could do a skullduggery spend, or you could just make a burglary check.
I will let Solovita do the burglary check.
Yes.
Solovita, dear cousin.
Yes.
If everyone is done crying over a dead relative, perhaps pick lock so we can get about business.
Okay, but while I do this, please collect all the papers over there from the blueprint table, because I really want them, and I've been very good so far.
Yes, of course,
I feel. Okay,
grab
great.
Brandon stacks.
Appreciate you, Chauncey. Sure. Thank you, Arkadiy. Sure, yeah, I'm gonna spend what's the level of difficulty on this?
5. Sorry.
Oh, that's not bad. I'll spend 3 and run it. Oh, I'm glad I spent 3. I got 5 in total.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you definitely don't have the key to this. And it certainly seems that whoever crafted it, as you peek inside, it's not just that it's a triangle shaped key, but you can tell that there's all sorts of these strange little mechanisms inside. And it's a fairly thick door. But you're able to, by looking in, holding up the light that you're carrying, getting some of your tools out, you're able to very carefully pick this effectively, allowing the door to be pulled open. And inside, you definitely notice that. Okay, so the first thing you see is that there is a metal cylinder that's off to the side. And you notice that there is like a small leather pouch about the size of, like your palm, basically. And you certainly notice that there is a big chunk of this cabinet that is empty. And you could tell that there is like some slight discoloration or dust that suggests that something has been removed from here recently. But there are 2 things that have remained inside.
grab the cylinder, see if it's got like papers inside?
You know exactly what this is. Guild of Architects, engineers, they do these types of things. You pop it, and when you pull it out, it's definitely a rolled vellum project overview of some kind. It's not a blueprint per se, but you can see it's like it's almost like a series of like presentation plans and schematics and things. It's very academic. It's like engineering. You can see there's all sorts of technical jargon, which you don't really have a whole lot of difficulty understanding. And you're probably the perfect person to read this too, because what you're seeing is that this certainly has this melding of architecture, engineering, and sorcery. Like you can definitely tell whoever did this design and is somehow melding these principles. And you can see that the signing person, the person who actually signs this, is someone by the name of Orsyth Mainwallen. And you can say, like, if you were to sum it up, like the thesis of what his aims are, is to, quote, construct a vault to contain an unspecified power source, allowing that power to be both insulated and channeled. And then you find this materials index, which mostly seems fairly straightforward to you, Solovita. However, there is an item here in the materials index referred to as a tuning stone. And it's meant to, quote, calibrate the flow of power to and from the sacral void.
I say this. Oh, yeah. Look, see these symbols here. It means this. And for some reason, you need a tuning stone to calibrate the flow of power to and from the void?
Void, yeah.
Void, yep.
I'm sorry, the what?
The sacral void, you know.
I do not.
Oh, and magic, more magic stuff.
Right, excellent. Magic
The tumor
stuff.
of magics, then.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of magic stuff. But so we might have a power source under here, so that probably is what is generating this, I guess, jump to another dimension, or this ability to continue the bloodline. It might be part of the power source.
It's very interesting. Does not help us get wherever Altavir is, though. So.
It got us her motivation, maybe. She took maybe the tuning stone if it's missing here.
Yes, motivation for sure, but we did not see her come back out. Perhaps they were fast enough to leave, but maybe there's another way out of here. So I am not architect or sorcerer. Okay. Perhaps we try to figure this out. I will take a look.
I'm going to go over to the half-finished arch and see if I can't read the glyphs.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. You've been doing this. Let's check in with Chauncey for 2. Chauncey, you collected the blueprints. And I'm going to say, because of your ridiculous luck, Solovita she's reading out loud. She's saying what she's saying, the phrase sacral void. And you look and you see in this sort of big bear hug of papers that you have got, you notice many of these, by the way, are burnt. Like someone tried to destroy them, but they didn't properly burn. One of them is a cutaway of the manor. And when you look at it, Chauncey, you can see like there is a label, sacral void. You unfurl it. You can see the cutaway of the manor. There is literally no visible center. It is just like this voided center in the middle of the manor, like not like below the manor, like literally in the middle of it. And there is this symbol labeled sacral void. And then there's a note that says, do not anchor. You can see there's all sorts of these other smaller annotations, Chauncey, that probably don't make a whole lot of sense to you, not being an architect or an engineer. But it says that like the surrounding structures bend toward the core without forming direct joinery. And it's just like, who the hell knows what it says? And there's all sorts of these like other heavily annotated sheets of like floor plans with these concentric circles, these pivot lines, margin notes and such, that just like, it's giving you a headache, man. Where's Piss Pot Randy when you need him?
Some people build their house on sand, some people build their house on stone. We build ours on a nexus of the void. Here, Solovita, look at this. Oh. You'll love it because I hate it. This is...
Thank you. Oh, yes, I do love this. This is so interesting.
Fortuna, while Chauncey has been doing this while Sovleta is doing. What has Fortuna been doing in this whole time?
Oh goodness. If it's okay with Solovita, if you're looking at all of the things, I might look at the runes over the doorway.
Sure, but there's also a pouch in the cabinet that hasn't been looked at if you want as well.
Okay. Well, you're in the cabinet looking at the one thing, so you can grab the other thing.
Yeah, go for the art. Go for it.
Okay.
I'm just getting piled with documents.
Fortuna, you definitely see it's sort of like it's carved with these like angular glyphs. Some are broken, some are half finished, and you can see there's this bronze cabling that's twisting through these notches, as if like, you know, they're sort of like tensioned and tight here and there. It's not load bearing or anything like that. It's just like sort of wrapped around them here and there. You don't have sorcery, but you do have forgotten lore, right?
Yes, I do have forgotten lore, and I will spend that. Okay.
As you start like going through and sort of tracing these runes, and you're like, oh, it's almost like a little pattern here and there, and you kind of start seeing, okay, this image there, and you reach out and you sort of touch it briefly just to sort of trace the outline or dust away. Right when you make contact with it, you feel this little hum of energy, of power suddenly start coursing through these swirling cables. And then you like step back for a second, then you look around and you're not even sure what's maybe driving you. You just seem to know from some point, maybe something you read in Pelletier's study or the library or one of the books Solovita gave, like just some weird arcane knowledge that over your 50 plus years you've accumulated, and you start touching these different runes, these glyphs, and and all of a sudden in this broken archway, you see this image appear. And it's like this shimmering mirage almost. Like you're looking at something either like on the horizon in a desert or just looking at the reflection in a pool. But it's still clear. You see what appears to be the landing of the second floor. And it almost looks like a live look because there's a house guard and you can see like he is being absolutely berated and yelled at by many of your guests at this point. And like a few of them kind of push past him and just start moving off and like away from him. And he's like chasing them down here and there. And you see this clear as day.
Arkadiy, do you see this as well? This is the balcony.
Does Arkadiy see it?
Yes, you would. Absolutely. For standing next to her.
Fortuna. Excellent. And he goes right through.
And you step through. There is, and again, it's probably worse for Arkadiy, a coldness that just washes through you, but it quickly fades. Probably not as quickly for you as others. It probably lingers a little longer, but it does fade. And you step out in the middle of the hallway, and the house guard that is trying to like chase down somebody like stops, nearly bumps into you. Oh, Mr. Arkadiy, hey, where did you come from?
Is no concern. Did Altavira come through here recently?
Altavira, yes, she came. Then she went. I saw the Fortuna. I told her she went out there, but yes, the last I saw her, she was rushing outside. Yes, that was 2-3 hours ago. At this time, I'm so glad you are here. We need someone to help us.
How long? So how long have you been here on landing?
I have been here all night. This has been my post. I'm here to make sure that the guests are coming, but they're not coming up now. They're getting very upset. They've been here for hours. Mr. Chauncey, he was here and he calmed them down for a bit, but they're very angry and they still can't go outside. And they're scattering around. I can't keep them. They wanted refreshments, and then the servants would stop coming and serving, and we can't find many of the servants. And you can see he's like panicking and freaking out. And you hear the sounds of like squawk, 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 squawk down the stairs, where many of the crowd are like yelling and screaming. You peek over and you can see that the crowd isn't as big as it used to be. And they kind of scattered about. And also, Arkadiy, you turn around, you can't see like a portal or anything like that. You see nothing. You just see the hallway. You don't see Fortuna. You don't see Chauncey. You see nothing.
So Arkadiy will turn back to where the portal, where he thinks the portal was, and he will just sort of pantomime back that that doesn't know where Altavira went.
Can Fortuna see him?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Arkadiy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh
And then he'll
dear.
shrug,
Oh.
and then he'll turn back around to the guard.
Oh dear, I did not intend. I just wanted him
So
to look
confused.
and see if he saw what I could see, and now, Chauncey and Solovita, Arkadiy went through, and now he's back in the house. And so Fortuna doesn't know that Arkadiy can't see us, and so Fortuna's gonna make like the spiral, that is in the study.
Mhm.
So kind of the spiral mark in the study. So she's doing this like charades thing to the portal, thinking that Arkadiy is going to be able to see, and she's going to like do like a glasses push up in the study. In the
Do you do your best Pelletier impression? Do you like Arkadiy? You need to go this way. Yeah,
About halfway through that, Arkadiy just turns his back because he's just assuming you're either going to come through or you're not. And he goes,
he turns back
to the guard.
Yeah. And the guard's like panicking. He's like saying people started to scatter, like the door still won't open. We can't find like this. We asked the servants to bring refreshments. They haven't come back. Like people have gone to check on them. And then some of the main Wallens have just randomly disappeared. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to
listen. Just be the guard that you are. You do an excellent job. You're doing we are all under very unique circumstances. We are not in a place where we should be, and you are doing the right thing by protecting Manor, protecting main Wallens as best as you can. If crazy, noble visitors want to lose their mind and do stupid things, well, just remember, you and me, we most likely common. Stay alive, protect yourself, protect those who are not being stupid, and do not worry about the rest.
Okay. Grazie. Yes. Yes. I think you're. It's just you're the first person that I've seen in quite some time that actually knows something more than I do. Most of the
yes. I'll go down and scare all the guests.
And Fortuna. Okay. So Arkadiy, you start walking down the stairs. Meanwhile, back in this workshop. And I would say, Chauncey, on those blueprints, you also see that they are signed by someone by the name of Orsyth Main Wallen. Solovita, you would see it as well. So you've seen this name pop up a couple times here and there. Fortunately, you tried to pantomime some language, some directions to Arkadiy. Doesn't seem to have happened.
Go to the study. Go to Pelletier's study.
And he turns around.
Stone wall.
And he starts talking.
Why does he not listen to me? I am really not.
And then he starts walking down the stairs, going the complete opposite direction of Pelletier's study.
That's it. No, that.
And now he can't. Now you can't see him at all.
What is he doing? Why does he not? Why does no one listen to me?
I'm right here behind you, listening to you.
Well, it's just the whole place is very confusing. Things that we just saw a picture of how there's like a magical vortex of chicanery, and we're terribly sorry that the laws of physics and nature defy you.
And Arkadiy just walked through the wall.
Yes.
And he did not come back.
Yes. It's also, he's walking down the stairs towards the guests.
That cannot go well. I don't think that is going to do.
Okay. Idea. Chauncey, do you want to go talk to the guests and run through the little portal before Arkadiy gets there, and then tell Arkadiy that we're going to Pelletier's study?
No.
Yes?
You, Chauncey, cousin Chauncey, you are aside from me, best at sway. You gift of gab you have.
I'll do that. I will say, it occurs to me, Altavia seems very ahead of us, but she is kind of full of herself, right? And she loves to, pick herself up off of people's work. I think she's done fantastically in the first steps. If there's anything we're going to trip her up on, it's going to be the last step. So maybe just look at there's something about like, don't speak with the tongue, like the breath that gave you a name. I bet there's something with that she'll screw up. And if we don't screw up, we'll take the opportunity when it comes.
Yes, we will find a way. We will find a way. Yes.
I'll just dump this all here because I don't think I want those people to see me carrying this horrid nonsense.
So
It's
he grabs
very
it all.
interesting.
I know, so interesting. So interesting, I want to die.
Go save Arkadiy.
I really don't want to.
You don't have to,
Chauncey.
of course.
Do you step through the portal?
Yes.
Cold washes over you, fades quickly. It's a very odd experience. You get this little shiver, and you're standing right behind the guard who hasn't noticed you yet. Because he's gone back to his post, thanks to Arkadiy. So he didn't accidentally bump it. He's at his post.
Excellent work there, sir. Keep it up.
And he's like
And just
grabbing
keep
his sword.
walking.
Mr. Chauncey, Mr. Arkadiy just went down. And like he's like pointing, and you just walk past him.
Yes, he let me know you've done a splendid job. We're so proud that you're here. Thank you.
Chauncey, Arkadiy, you head down into this like sort of public, the noble floor of your estate here, and sprawling out, there's like, you can see there's various furniture. There's like a harp in the corner. There's places for refreshments that you can see are in disarray, as though they have gone through them. They're also very clearly far fewer people here than you remember there being, but the doors still look chained closed. Chauncey and Arkadiy, as you come down, you can see that like you don't see Pelletier. You don't really see any main Wallens for that matter, except for one. And he comes up and he approaches the two of you. And he says, Hey, Chauncey. Hey, Arkadiy. I'm really glad to see you. Okay. Okay. Hey there, big guy. What's going on?
There's so much.
So, I don't mean to alarm y'all, but things are kind of getting a little weird down here. So there's like snakes that are camouflaged as chains that seem to be blocking the door so we can't get out. One of them Bonaventures managed to climb out the window, but when he ran over to the front gate there, and he kind of like disappeared into like, I don't know what the hell it was. We didn't hear nothing. And then we saw him on the ground outside, and he's like all rolling around in pain. Then servants, they disappeared. We kept asking for wine and booze and whatnot and everything. And Valentina went looking for him, of course. And so, but I haven't seen her in a while. So that's kind of alarming. Basically all these folks that I thought were like cousins and such, like they ain't here no more. And no one really believes that I'm a main Wallens, and no one's really listening to me. What's going on?
Oh, it's somehow due to the death of Matriarch, some sorcery has been enacted and pulled us into a sort of hellish realm where reality is disjointed, and we believe that men Wallens are being executed one by one. There are also poisonous snakes in the area. Death and destruction and mayhem will follow until such time as new matriarch is ascended to throne of men Wallen family.
That gonna be soon? Like,
Maybe.
It's a good question.
Hey, okay, well, see, when I was invited to the family, I did not know you all, respectfully, were fucking crazy. What the hell's going on? And then he's talking, yeah, go ahead, Arkadiy, say what you want to say.
Let me be clear. I am Ruska, not Man Wallen. Distant relative. But yes, all Man Wallen, batshit crazy.
According to Fortuna's documents, I'm like a 57th removed cousin, and I'm still here, so I don't know how much that matters. Okay, well, like I said, things are crazy. I don't know where your wife is. And right as he says that, Chauncey, you guys hear the chime go off. And and then there's that thing. And that's what we'll go ahead and end for tonight. And we'll pick up right there next time. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't invite Valentina. You invited Valentina. So Levita was smart enough to leave her family at home.
Yeah, I get them out of the scene right away.
Very smart decision.
Yeah, you don't see Helena here anywhere, do you?
Exactly. Jane.
Chauncey thought he was being a gentleman by saying, like, of course, right? You come with.
Which is clearly the wrong choice.
Yeah, 'cause that's what always,
kept being...
that always works out well in horror movies. Just like, bring the family along to this haunted house. And
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my gosh, that session went by so fast. Oh my gosh. I love all of the places that we're going. We were talking in chat about like, okay, so like, do we go after? Do we not? Is this like a Stargate? We need to like dial a new address. Like, what are we like doing on this side of it?
Gotta get the chevrons in place.
Yep.
Yeah. Who knows? Guess suddenly end up on a different planet. Could be that.
Oh God.
Yeah. We jump into our new game because that's like you guys are just the same characters in this game.
Transit into the Dreamlands or something.
Dreamlands or go to Mars.
Oh yeah. Well, last time Melissa was in the Dreamlands, she kicked some cats, so that probably is a bad idea.
That's a bad idea. Yeah. Not in the dream. Don't kick cats.
Don't do that in the Dreamlands. I mean, don't do that in general, but definitely don't do that in the Dreamlands. That's the worst place to do it.
Yeah. I rolled poorly, stepped on.
Yeah. It happens. These things happen. All right, let's get out of here. Let's do a couple closing plugs. Aaron, you just started up a recent game on Garblag. What game is that?
Absolutely. On Thursdays at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, you can check out the Garblag Games YouTube channel, and you can see me, Johnny Geist, VR gamer and influencer, as he makes his way through New Casablanca as we work for an artificial intelligence who owns a casino as we're solving a murder mystery. So that's a Metro Otherscape that Ben is running, and we're having a great time. First session was today. Session 0 was a couple weeks ago, so go check it out.
Awesome. Okay, as for the rest of us, we'll start with our good friend Steven. He's been making Huckleberry, so I keep plugging this. Huckleberry RPG. I think it's on sale still. If he's in the chat, he can correct me, but I think it's still on sale because we just did a little Extra Life thing this past weekend. So if you want to take a look at it, huckleberryrpg.com, or just look for it up on DriveThruRPG. Lots of new stuff has recently come out. Let's take a look. Then stream-wise, tomorrow we've got Dragonbane. Aaron will get back to running. We'll switch seats. Saturday, we should be in Call of Cthulhu as we are in Ethiopia. We are going through a terrible and dangerous desert where everyone's going to die. And then Monday, we're still on hiatus for at least one more week. And then Tuesday, you can see, that's to call you Sola Vita. You can see Kipser running us through Perils and Princesses.
Yes, I am running now.
That would
be fun. That would be a fun idea to have a game
We're
where
going to learn.
characters are running the game for other.
Maybe that's how I can finally
RPG.
play Big Pharma. Let's do that. When Outgun Superheroes comes out, I'll run Outgun Superheroes as Big Pharma.
Oh my God! Big Pharma's running the game.
He's running the game.
Oh my God!
Oh, that'd be good.
That would be so good.
All right. Let's see. We're going to.
It's the Inception version of TTRPG play. It's levels.
We're going to go ahead and raid somebody.
Levels.
The people I was just going to raid just went offline. So let's do. Insomnia Night's up. Let's do Insomnia RPG. We raid them all. So let's raid them. All right. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See y'all.
Arrivederci.